Hello and welcome back to my channel, and we rejoin our characters. We are now at the shoreline of Darkwater Lake. We have spent the whole day traveling from Marchton. Quick recap on the map. It has been quite a gentle journey, apart from some hazard in trying to cross the river running from the mountains, with all the meltwater off. It was very, very cold. Anarian lost his footing a couple of times, and it led to a bit of damage. He's now carrying 4 hit points of damage, so he might need some medical attention, which our cleric Dagobert will probably be in a good position to remedy. Yes, I think we can continue with the adventure from that point. So if I just get rid of my Dungeons Masters guide for a second. And I do have just a quick kind of aid memoir for just some of the points I want to go through at the start. So with the help of Anarian and Lindris, we had found a secluded spot to camp. And Anarian deliberately says, stay away from the water's edge. So there are tales and rumors of Darkwater Lake, and the fact that it has special properties. People have gone missing on that lake. They are not entirely sure of what lurks within it. It's a bit Tolkien-esque. You've probably seen this before outside Moria. Stay away from the water. That maybe the same kind of atmosphere is building inside the characters' imagination. But Anarian says, prevention's better than cure. Stay away from the water. So they say, Anarian, you know what you're talking about. You're a ranger. Lindris echoes that. He says, I have a bad feeling about this lake. He's got his elf senses coming out. So we make camp probably a good 100 meters away from the water's edge. Dagobert heals Anarian, and he's going to rest thereafter. So he'll put his hand on Anarian and say, by the power of Bane, I cure you, and we're going to do 1 to 8 hit points of damage. So hopefully we're going to get a nice roll for Anarian, getting back to, not really, we get a 1. Probably should have used my dice tray, my lucky dice tray. However, that's better than nothing. So Anarian is going to heal 1 hit point of damage. So I'll just make a wee note. This is my little scribbles that I did last time. So he goes back up to 1, so he's got 3. He's 3 down. I think Anarian's hit points are pretty outstanding. He got the standard ranger thing at the start, where you get double the D8, and I think he got he got 16 hit points, and because he had some, I think his constitution's pretty good too, so I give him a bonus. So he doesn't really have too much to worry about. It's a bit irritating that he's not at full strength. However, Dagobert on the back of that says, I'm feeling a bit drained. I need to get the power of Bane back inside me. I will rememorize my Cure Light Wounds miracle spell, and it will be ready and useful for the rest of us. But at the same time, Adeline says, "Oh, I've lost something in my bag. I thought when I was getting across the river that something, I almost felt something slip from my grasp." So Adeline discovers that she's lost an item of equipment. So panic stations, red alert. Adeline, what is she going to lose? Now, I have thought long and hard about this, and I'm not going to let her lose her spell book, so you can breathe a sigh of relief. I think that would be an awful thing to do to a magic user. However, she does have some other bits of equipment that we could maybe say, okay, that's up for grabs. So let's have a look. So she's got her spell book in a satchel, a leather satchel, so that's okay. I've said that's safe. And she says, yeah, I've still got my spell book, thank goodness. Woo. She's got a backpack because that's not going to disappear. A cloak, she probably was wearing a cloak, or was it rolled up? It was during the daytime and it was okay weather, so she might not have been wearing her cloak. So I'll maybe say cloak is an option. That could have floated off. A water skin, I would say, yeah, that's up for grabs. That's a 2. Her boots, hard. They're not going to come off. No, they're not. Her robe, she's wearing a robe. Yeah, I remember that was that quite rich robe that she's got. I think they have to have some form of laundry in the Green Dragon Inn, because otherwise you can't keep on wearing the same one. I think she maybe got a rotation, because she's come from noble background. She's probably got a rotation of nice robes to wear. Rations, iron. Well, she's carrying hers, so I would say there's a chance. That's a 3. So what else has she got equipment-wise? I think that's about it. Oh yes, she's got her staff and her dagger. So I think they're up for grabs too. So what am I up to? 3, 4. We'll make the staff 4. She would probably quite obvious if she lost her staff. However, maybe she's placed it on her backpack, through the straps or something. Yeah, let's just do it. And her dagger. Yeah. So we've got a 1 to 5 chance. So let's see what we lose. Just as a rough and ready thing, and we'll ignore the 6. If we get a 6, we'll say that she thinks that she's lost something, but she hasn't, and it's a kind of false alarm. So that's what we get. Oh, we get a 6. So that is good news for Adeline. The gods are with us. She has not lost anything after maybe panicking and thinking, oh no, what have I lost? Oh, there's my spellbook, okay, all this kind of stuff. And they say, calm down, Adeline, it's fine. I think maybe you're just getting a wee bit carried away. I know that water was very cold. It's probably affected us all, giving us all chills. We're going to have to dry out. Let's get the fire started. And Arian says, right, okay, we're going to have to stay here tonight. We'll get the fire started. We'll organise some watches to guard against intruders. Now, Anarian, I'm saying, because he's a ranger, he has knowledge of the wild, and this will assist with the effectiveness of the rotation order. Now, it might sound a bit kind of gamey, but I'm saying, because of his training, he knows when the best times are to be alert. So he knows in the hills that he should be alert at night time, just after nightfall, and at pre-dawn. And they happen to be the encounter check times. So because of his ranger training, I'm saying that he has this almost innate ability to determine when is the best time to be awake. So he'll be awake at those times, and everyone else can take it in rotation. Dagobert is a special case because he's been doing a bit of healing, so he's going to need some meditation time, and they're just going to let him rest for the rest of the time. So the other 3 characters are the ones that are in the rotation. Now, Lindris is probably the best one to have on point, and he says, well, I'll take quite a long shift because I can see at night, and also we elves, we don't really need as much sleep as you humans. This is one of our abilities from the elder days, a gift given to us by our deity, the fact that we like to be awake at night and see the stars and contemplate higher things. So he's up for a long shift during the night. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check nighttime after nightfall, check pre-dawn. They've got their rotation organised. They're munching into their iron rations, which isn't exactly fantastic. But again, Lindris comes to the rescue and says, I have these little tricks here from my elf days to make food more palatable. And he does the old lembas thing, and he says, if you take your iron rations, and I give you a little bit of this bread that I still have, I've been keeping it for about a month or so from my elf time, but it does preserve for a long time, and they go, wow, this is amazing in Arian. This really, no, sorry, Lindras, this really makes our iron rations eke out quite nicely, and we actually feel like it's quite palatable. So we have actually quite a nice meal, and we feel a bit of camaraderie around the campfire. We start to do our watch. We do an encounter check just after night time, so that's going to be a 1 in 10 on a d10. So I'll make sure I get my d10. So if we get a 1, we're in trouble. So we get a 3, so no encounters at night time. We also check pre-dawn, so we've gone all the way through the night. And Arian again is on point. He's got his sharp eyes out, waiting. That is a 1. So we have an encounter. So what's it going to be? Now, remember, we are in the hills, so we have to look at the encounter tables at the back. So I think this is the first outside encounter we've had. So what is it going to be? I'll make sure I get to my right table. And it is uninhabited wilderness. Yeah, uninhabited wilderness area, hills. And remember, we have this order of attack. If I just get my folder, we have an order of attack. Just had a quick break there, just so I can get to my sheet. When we have an encounter, I'm saying that we go through an order. Now, it might seem a bit counterintuitive doing this when we're just static. We're checking for fortresses and ruins. Now, I had to think about this, and I just thought, well, maybe it'd be the denizens of the fortress that are out on patrol, or if it's ruins, it's maybe something that's in the ruins. So I'm still going to do these checks for any encounters, and I might say that after maybe if we say that we were there for a day or so, I would say, yeah, let's not check this anymore, because it doesn't look as though that's going to happen. But for this instance, we will. So first thing we do is we check for a fortress. So that is a 1 in 20. So let's get our d20 out. 11, so we've got no fortress. We check for ruins. That is a 1 in 20. That's a 16, so we have no ruins. Check the relevant terrain column of the Dungeon Master's Guide for uninhabited areas. 25% use the current terrain of the subhex if different from the overall hex. So we are actually in this subhex here. So imagine us just being camped just away from this causeway in those hills. So we'll use the hills table to do that. So what we're going to get, if we get our percentage dice out, get my percentage dice, and so what are we going to find? What is going to find us, more importantly? 81. What will that be? What will that be on the table? So hills. So we go on to this second page. 81. 81 is Sphinx. What is going on with the Sphinx? So why would a Sphinx be in the hills? Now remember, with encounters, they don't always have to be like just these monsters just walking down, almost like walking down the street and just bumping into us. They could be sightings, they could be the noises that they make. So a Sphinx, a strange thing to have in the hills. So let's just see what a Sphinx is all about. SP, Sphinx. Oh my goodness, so there is a lot of different types of Sphinx. There's the Androsphinx, the Criosphinx, gynosphinx and the hieracosphinx. And what are their alignments? Chaotic good, neutral, neutral, chaotic evil. So let's see it. Does it say how to create a differentiation of sphinxes in that table? So it did say sphinx. Has it got a little footnote? It's got that in italics. Oh, here we go. Yes, there is. There is a subtable, sphinx subtable, hills. All right. So you've seen it. You've seen it here first, or maybe not. Maybe you've come across the sphinx before. I honestly can't recall ever encountering. I probably have, but I just can't recall it. That's a 7. So a 7 on our chart is, or a sphinx, is an androsphinx. Okay. So what is it? Well, they're chaotic good. So not to say that it might be hostile, it might be quite angry with us being in the location. It's saying the male or androsphinx is a very powerful and large creature. It attacks with two great paws. It has the ability to use clerical spells as if it were a 6th level human cleric. All right. So this is very interesting. Yeah, they've got a whole almost like subculture going on. The androsphinx and the gynosphinx, which is the female one, and the cryosphinx, and this is a nasty one, this hawk-headed one. At least we haven't come across that. Well, I'm not quite sure exactly what to do with that. Whether shall we do a roll to see have they got any special things about surprise? I think with this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an oracle on it. And I'm going to ask the question, is this androsphinx, is it flying over us and we spot it? So is it going to be a yes or a no? So I've got my oracle page. I think I have my oracle page to hand. Is it a yay or a nay? Got my master oracle result here. So I'm going to say that there's probably a high probability that it is flying over us. It's going out for its morning range across the Darkwater Lake. Do we see it in the sky? And I'll roll 2 dice, and what we do is we take the higher of the 2. So yes, and it flies off. It flies off, and it doesn't spot us, which is the main thing. Phew. So I think we're just going to deal with that. Is what you would call a complex encounter that maybe we can rationalize away. And I suppose as a solo player, you do have this option that if it's going to maybe distract from the overall play session that you've got lined up, my main reason for doing this session just now is to get across the causeway, get into the temple and start exploring it and I don't really want to be too sidelined. However, I still want the jeopardy of having an encounter chance. So I'm saying what we've done here is that we've seen this androsphinx fly over our party. So there it is. You can see it there. And because it's got wings, I'm sure, sphinxes inhabit only warm climes. I wonder why it comes up. I suppose it's just saying maybe it's migrated it's migrated north and it's just flying over this lake and kind of scouting it out. It doesn't say anything about its, I can't really see anything on its eyesight, but I have rationalized it, just saying, yeah, it's out flying over the lake. We do see it, and probably what we do is we put the fire out quickly. We pull our cloaks over ourselves and do that kind of hiding and disguise type thing. And Arian he's chosen a very discreet location for us, out of visible sight. We get away with that encounter. So, but I'll make a note that we had an Andrew Sphinx for future reference, and that is either that is probably going to be a resident of this area. And I'll look into that in a bit more detail, because I'd like to build this particular creature into it, and not just discount it. You know, the fact that I've said, well, I've done an oracle on it to say, well, it's not actually a real threat just now, it's just a sighting from a distance and it hasn't seen us. I don't want to just take away that potential interaction that we might have with it, because it sounds as though it is a good creature, so maybe it would have been a positive interaction or a further adventure thread further down the line. Okay, so I think we've dealt with that one. Let's move on. Next thing is we have our breakfast. We perform a weather roll for our party, so we'll just get the old D6 out for that. So it is fine weather again, so that's good. And we break camp. So we're all ready to get cracking on the causeway. We head down towards the causeway. Again, just to kind of recap, in the distance, the characters, they see the low profile of the island. It's a black silhouette against the darkened skies. As they reach the shoreline and see the causeway stretch out before them, a mist seems to descend and hangs over them. And they have already said, what fell sorcery is this? So it has a threatening and heavy atmosphere. They do feel a certain degree of trepidation as they step towards the causeway. Now, the actual causeway itself, I've done. I've created a little sheet on my. I was going to have done on my Excel spreadsheet. Now, Excel was not invented in 1979. But what I'm saying is I've used my artistic abilities and I've painted or drawn this nice causeway, coloured in my blue. So just imagine that's been crayons. And our characters, they step on to this. And Adam says, look, be careful, the paving stones are dangerous. So let's have a little introduction to this. The shifting stones. The causeway isn't a solid bridge. It's made of precarious shifting stones that could give way at any moment. The ancient stones appear wet and slippery. So I'm saying for game purposes, the causeway is divided into 5 sections of 200 yards each. Moving at a cautious rate, it takes 1 turn to move 100 yards. So if we move down halfway, that's going to take us 1 turn, which is 10 minutes. If we're doing it at a cautious rate and we're being careful, so 2 turns per segment. So I'll get my little aid memoir out, my little diary, get a new page on that, and we will have a little tracker of causeway time. So we've got causeway and we've got section 1, and that's going to take 2 turns to navigate. So I'll put a little 2 there just now in advance. Now, moving at a cautious rate takes 1 turn to move 100 yards. Each section has a difficulty class of solid, caution required, or treacherous. So there's 3 difficulty classes. And we use a D6 to determine what that particular difficulty class is. But we need someone to scout out first by 1 character. So now The only trouble with Anarian is that his dexterity isn't very good, so he's a bit wary of his footing. He says, I'm okay on the strength side, and I can do all that kind of... I'm just noticing that's not in camera. All these little things are talking to themselves, and you can't even see them. Anarian's explaining that he's not very sure-footed. Maybe someone that is nimble and is good on their feet and sharp eyes. And Lindra says, well, I think I fit the bill. I'll go and I'll do a bit of scouting. So he scouts out the start of this and scans over the causeway as it leads out towards or out across the lake. And so we can determine, based on his initial scouting, what level of difficulty this section 1 is. So we have that is it's solid. So it's viewed as being solid and not a potential problem. However, we still need to be cautious. So I'll just make a note of solid. And what we do is we roll dexterity for each character on 1d20 with a +3 for solid and a -3 for treacherous. Subsequent rolls for following characters are made at +3. If extra precautions are made, add more modifiers, but will take time, which is +1 turn. So let's do a quick resume of the character's dexterity. So we'll have we've got Lindris, he's taking the lead, he's going to be doing the scouting. We've got Anarian, we've got Dagobert, we've got Adelind, and we've got Tristan. So I'll get my character sheets out and we'll just take a quick note of what their dexterities are, because these are the key requisites for this particular part of the adventure. So Tristan has a dexterity of 11. Dagobert has a dexterity of 12. Lindris has a phenomenal dexterity of 17. That's why he's hopping about on these paving stones. Anarian has a bit of a duff dexterity of 10. Not great. And Adelind, she's all right, I think. She's a 14. Yep, she's 14. Okay. So that is our base raw material statistics that we're going to use in this process. Now what we're saying is that we get a +3 for solid, and also characters following Lindris will get a +3 as well. If we take extra precautions, we can get more pluses that I can give discretionally, but it's going to take an extra turn. So I don't think we're maybe too bothered about time-wise, but let's see what this would work out. So Lindris is going to do it on a 17. So let's see if he navigates this section. He needs a 17 or less. So he gets a 13. So he's all right. He says, "Yeah, this is fine. Just follow my footsteps. Come behind me." So we'll have Dagobert next, and then we'll have Tristan at the back, and we'll have Anarian. Yeah, Anarian just behind Adelind. I think that's going to be the order. So Lindris is okay, so he's across to the other side. Dagobert, now he has a 12. We add 3 for his following in the footsteps, so that's 15. Do we want to do anything else? Do we want to delay any time? No, I think Dagobert says, yeah, I fancy just pushing ahead. 15 or less. Bring it on, Bane. Let's see what we're going to get. So, yeah, Dagobert's fine, so he gets across. Joins Tristan on the other side. I just noticed that I am out of camera again. My little thing is a bit long. There we go. Adelind, she says, yeah, I'm fine. I'm going to be 14 plus 3. I'm going to be, that's a 17 for Adelind. So she says, yeah, I'm going to go for it. She gets a 1. She just hops across. She says, this is easy. I'm definitely not going to lose my spell book at this time. We've got Anarian. Now, Lindris is gonna help out maybe behind if Anarian does stumble. However, maybe we're just doing a bit over the top, but he's got a 13 or less, so let's see how he gets on. He's got a 19, a 19, right? Okay. So what does it mean by failing? So success, characters crosses safely. So we've had 3 successes so far. Failure by 1 to 3. Character stumbles, loses confidence next time, or an item or equipment falls out of their pack. Okay, but we've now got a failure 4+. So what does that engender? Slip badly, roll a d6. On a 1 to 3, they fall prone and graze themselves, lose confidence. On a 4 to 6, they take 1d4 damage as they hit a stone or they drop a held item into the murky water below, lost forever. Consider a saving throw to grab a nearby stone and avoid falling off entirely. Oh dear. So, slip badly. Roll a d6. Come on, Arian, what are you going to get? But remember, Tristan, he may be there just to kind of grab him back with his amazing strength. We're always going on about him, but Tristan's amazing strength. He's going to have to use it here, I think. So we have a 3. So he falls prone on his face. He grazes himself and he loses confidence. So by losing confidence, lose confidence -1 to -3 on. So and Arian's going to have a little downer, a -1 to -. So he falls on his, he ends up prone. Adeline says, "Look, you've got to be careful in Arian because you know this is how my you know what's his name, Malor. That's how he broke his leg. He was just too cavalier. Maybe he just tripped on his cloak." So Anarian, he manages to get across in the end, and then Tristan, who has got well, he's got an 11. He's not a sure thing out either. So he's a 14. So let's see how Tristan gets on. And maybe an investment of time might have been a better thing. So he gets a 6, so he's all right. So guys, as a party, we get across. Okay, we turn this. We just recycle this for 2. So we're up to 2. I'll make a little note of 2. And that's going to take 2 turns. So that's taken 20 minutes. That's another 20 minutes. And by the way, we've kicked off about, I'm saying about 7 o'clock. So 7 o'clock is the time on the clock when we finished breakfast. That is yeah, we're on to section 2. And section 2 is right, entitled The Murky Depths. Section 2. The water is a dark, inky black, reflecting the oppressive sky. Dagobert swears he just saw something move under the surface, a shadow larger than it should be. What lurks beneath the surface of the lake out of sight? Make a character perform a wisdom perception check. Okay. Right. Let's do a little scout first. So Lindris does a little scout first to find out how difficult this is. So if we just look at get our D6 out. And we get a 2. Now a 2 on the thing is still solid. So it's another solid section. However, someone needs to do a wisdom check. So who's it going to be? I'm just going to do randomly. I'm going to do in order. And I'll just do a 1 to 5 and a 6 I'll re-roll. So we've got number 3, that's Adeline's. So Adeline's going to do a little check. And Adeline's wisdom hopefully is okay. I think she's got pretty good stats all round, I think. Adeline's wisdom is, oh yeah, she is good. She's a wisdom of 17 actually. So she should really have been a cleric. So let's see what she gets, a 12. Good. So success. The character spots something fleetingly, a shadow, a ripple, a glint of an eye. Okay. Right, if something is spotted, give the character a choice. Right, so we haven't spotted anything. Oh no, we have. So if something is spotted, give the character a choice with another roll. Proceed cautiously, rush past, or investigate. Okay, so what's Adeline going to do on the basis of she spotted something? And she decides to do, she proceeds cautiously. She takes it slowly and gains advantage on the check. Okay, so she just says, "Oh, I think I saw something, saw a ripple in the water. Lindris, be careful. I think we should get over this section as quickly as we can. I do not trust this Darkwater lake one iota." So Lindris says, "Okay, I am going to get across here. I get almost. I have to be the Pathfinder, so I need 17 or less. So he gets a 5. So Lindris is across. We said that Dagobert would go next. Now he gets a +3, so he's 15 or less. 16, so he does fail. So Dagobert's maybe in a slight bit of trouble. So we'll just go back to our determination. Failure by 1 to 3. Character stumbles, loses confidence next time, or an item of equipment falls out of the pack. So we'll have a 5. It's on a 5 to 6. He loses an item of equipment from his pack. So no, but he stumbles and he loses confidence. So Dagobert is going to get a -1 to 3 next time. So Dagobert gets across. He has a bit of a stumble. He goes, "Ooh, yeah, it's pretty slippy footing there. I don't like that at all. It's slimy." We've got Adeline coming up. So she's pretty paranoid just now. She really wants to get across. She's got a 14. She's adding 1. She's a bit shaken. Oh, and it obviously has got to her. She's failed by 2. So that is going to be a character stumble, or is a bit of equipment going to fall out of her pack. So is she finally going to lose a bit of equipment? So now she stumbles as well, and she's losing confidence. She goes, "Ooh, bit of a slip there. -1 to 3 next time. Not too clever." And then we come to Anarian. Now he already has lost a bit of confidence. And he says, "I don't really feel too great about this." So he's make a decision whether he's going to take a chance, or are we just going to add another turn on. I'm saying that they call back and they say, "Look, Anarian, take your time. You know, you've fallen last time. We don't want you getting any grazes or hurt. You've already taken a bit of damage in that river. Why don't you just take an extra time?" So we'll add on another turn. And what I'll do is I'll say that adds 1 to 3 on. So we have a -1 to 3 and a +1 to 3. So we'll do the minus dice as black. So we're -1 and +3, so that's +2 plus the 3 that he gets anyhow. That's going to be +5. So he needs 15 or less on his roll. So we get a 5. So yeah, Anarian's okay, and he is no longer afflicted by loss of confidence. He feels fine now. And then we have Tristan. Now Tristan, because he hasn't got a great score either. I'm just wondering whether it'd be worthwhile just spending. Yeah, I think we'll just invest another turn. And they say, "Tristan, there's no point you being a hero about this. You just take your time too." So he's going to add 1 to 3 to his. So he adds 3. So he's already got, he adds 6 to his. So he needs a 17 or less. So that should be pretty good odds. Oh, we've got a crocky dice there. That's a shame. 17. Whew. Yeah, good job. Good job. He invested a bit of time. He said, whoa, that was pretty close. I felt those paving stones wobble. So they grab him, they get across. That is section 2 done. Whew, right. Right, what's our next one? So I'm saying that section 3 is just a regular section. So we have to do our check to find out what is the actual nature of it, what is the difficulty, the danger. So we've got a 5, and 5 means caution required. So we get no modifier for that. Yeah, so we don't get a modifier for it being solid. I just had a quick check there, and I just realized that I'd been doing it slightly wrong for the difficulty level, and had not been given the party the benefit of the fact that these were solid things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that those last 2 were treacherous. Well, they weren't treacherous, no, they were actually caution required. And we're going to make number 3, we'll make that, to give them a bit of a benefit, I'm going to make them solid. Make this one solid. So apologies for that. I just when I was reading out, I thought, oh, this doesn't sound right. I've been applying this incorrectly. So we'll have Lindris. He's going to head over. He's going to do the scouting bit. He's already worked out. Yep, this is pretty solid. This looks good this time. I get a plus. He gets a +3 bonus for solid. So he is almost, unless he gets a 20, I'll say that he is over. So he's fine. Lindris gets across. He shouts back, said, yep, this is a lot more solid, this section, but still take care. So Dagobert goes, he says, yeah, no, I do. This does feel better underfoot. So he's going to need, Dagobert has a 12. He has a bit of a crisis of confidence from last time, so he's going to get a -1 to 3. So let's just do that first, just to quickly check. Oh, I just knocked Dagobert off into the water. He's got a -1, so that is going to be a minus. That's going to be a +2 in total for solid, +3 for having Lindris almost like showing the path. So that's a +5. So in total, he's going to need a 17 or less. So, oh, 19. Even after all that. Dagobert, what are you doing? So Dagobert, failure by 1 to 3. So he's failed by 2. Character stumbles. Lose confidence next time. Or an item of equipment falls out of pack. So let's find out what happens to Dagobert. So he stumbles, he loses confidence. So we'll keep that -1 to 3 live for Dagobert. Again, has a bit of a stumble, but he manages to get across and join Lindris. And he goes, well done, Dagobert. That was, in the end, that was quite tough. I've got my elf feet. I can jump about on these things. It doesn't really matter, but I know for you humans, it's a bit of a different story. Adelind, she's up next, and she has a 14. So in total, she also has a bit of a crisis of confidence. So she's going to have a -1 to 3. So, well, she's -3. So that negates the benefit for it being solid. So she just gets the +3 from the benefit of Lindris. So she needs a 17 or less. So surely, Adelind, you can do it with a 17 or less. 12, yes. So she joins the chaps over here, and she gets rid of her crisis of confidence. So she's no longer afflicted by that. We have Anarian. He's okay confidence-wise. He seems to have got back a bit of, he's had a bit more success. He needs a +3 because it's solid. He's got a +3 from Lindris. He doesn't feel that he does need any time, so he needs a 16 or less. Surely an Arian can do it. 16, just on the nose. So he just goes, whoa, that was close. Gets across. An Arian, job done. And we have Tristan coming up the rear. He needs, after all the modifiers, +3 plus another +3, that's +6. He needs a 17 or less, and he says, yeah, I don't need all this extra time. I'll just give it a wee bit of a risk. An 8, yep, we're okay. So section 3 is out the way, so that's another 2 turns to do that. Section 4 we come up to. So just turn that around again. Characters are at the start again. Section 4 is entitled The Unstable Foothold. So, a section of the causeway seems particularly unstable. A large slab of rock has shifted. It requires a combined effort or a risky individual attempt to cross. So we have option A, which is a group effort. Each character makes a strength check. If at least half the party succeeds, they all get across safely, helping each other. If fewer than half succeed, the entire party struggles, and one character, the one who rolled the lowest, takes 1d3 damage from a falling rock or scraping against the unstable surface. Or individual dash. Each character attempts to cross individually. They make a dexterity check. Success means they get across. Failure means they take 1d6 fall damage and are left precariously hanging, requiring another character to make a strength check to pull them up on their next turn, or they will risk falling into the water. Well, I think if I was going to make a decision on behalf of the party, I would probably go for the group effort, because that seems to be a bit bit safer. Because if you go for an individual dash, I know people might be getting the jitters a bit and think, right, I can just quickly get across here and you know, a bit of a risk, but you know, it gets me across. I think the strength option is the best one to go for. So yeah, so each character makes a strength check. So we'll just make a quick note of all our strength, and if we get half of these, we're okay. So by half, I'm going to say 3, just to make it a bit slightly more awkward. So we've got Tristan, who is mega strength of 18. We've got Dagobert, whose strength is good, it's 13. And Lindris, whose strength is 13 too. So Lindris. Oh, Tristan. I'm always getting Lindris and Tristan mixed up. 13. And then an Arian. I would expect an Arian strength to be quite good. It's 14. Yep. And Adeline. Yes, Adeline's got a really good strength too. She's 14. So we're all looking pretty good on the strength wise. So, you know, the odds are in our favor that we're going to pass. So let's do, we'll do Lindris first. He needs a 13. He doesn't. He fails. So Lindris is down. So that's a fail. We have an Arian. He needs a 14. So he's okay. He's a pass. So that's one of our 3 that we have passing. Dagobert needs a 13. He gets a 7. He's a pass. Good old Dagobert. So Lindris has been doing all the heavy lifting just now. He's been doing the pathfinding and whatever. Maybe it's just getting a bit too much for him. We've got Adeline. She does it. She's done it for the team. And Tristan is almost a cert with his amazing strength of 18. He gets a 3, so he has no problem. So group effort worked. The chaps got across. We're up to the final section, section 5. The island is beckoning. It's almost there. We almost feel we're at the end of this awful causeway that's been going on and on and on. We have to determine what its level of danger is. So we'll d6, so I get 1. So it is solid again, so we'll get a +3 bonus. Now there is a little story to this one. The Whispering Wind. Section 5. The evil of the ruined temple is palpable, and the causeway acts as a conduit for its influence, playing on fears and doubts. Roll for character with the lowest wisdom or intelligence. Okay. So who's got the lowest wisdom or intelligence? So let's have a look at our characters. So the old characteristic rolls are doing a lot of work in this adventure. So wisdom 12 and intelligence. So there's a 12. That's a 14 and a 13. So he's not. So Tristan's the lowest just now, 18 and 14. And on our others, intelligence 16 and 16 and 14 and 17. So Tristan is the lowest with his wisdom of 12. So let's roll 12 or less, and we're okay with Tristan. 17. He fails. Okay, what are the consequences of the fail? The Whispering Wind. Success, the character shrugs off the unsettling feeling. Failure, the character suffers a minor psychological effect. Oh! 1. They become frightened of something innocuous. 2. They gain a level of exhaustion. 3. They become momentarily distracted, leading to a minor stumble. So what's it going to be? 1 to 3. Let's find out. It's 3. They become momentarily distracted, leading to a minor stumble. Take 1 point of damage or drop a non-essential item. What's it going to be? 1 to 3. It's a point of damage for Tristan. It's a point of damage, so Tristan takes a point. Tristan. So that was 4. That was we passed on that 4 and 5. And that's going to be, we have to determine that it was solid, wasn't it? So Tristan takes 1 point of damage there. Is there any other consequences? The wind carries faint, hissing whispers that seem to speak the character's greatest fear. He or she catches a glimpse of a gaunt, shadowy figure at the edge of vision, only for it to vanish when they blink. Whoa. God, that really gets the creeps up Tristan. He is really quite spooked. He says, I've got to get across this. Lindris, lead the way, for goodness sake. This is solid. It's +3 for Lindris. He's going to get across unless he gets a 20. Yep, he's fine. We've got Dagobert coming up. In fact, Tristan says, look, I want to go. I'll go next. So I would say that Tristan is probably quite affected by that. So maybe he gets a -1 to 3. Yeah, let's do that psychologically. -3. He gets a +3 for it being solid. And he gets a +3 for the benefit of Lindris. So it's +3 to him. So Tristan needs a 14 or less. Yes, he makes it. He goes, whoa, thank goodness. Hold on to me. Hold my hand, Lindris. I feel a bit shaken. I saw this shadowy figure. Did you see it? Lindris is going, what are you on about? We've got Dagobert. He is +3. He has still got a bit of crisis of confidence, I think. So -1 to 3. So he's a -1. So he has another plus. So it's +5 in total. So 17 or less. Yep, he's fine. Gets across. Happy. And then we have Anarian. He's 10 +6. 16. He's okay. Gets across. And then Adelind. None of this lady's first. She's coming up in the rear. 11 plus. Yep, she's fine. So we all get across. We can dispense with this useful multi-sectional piece of causeway. we're on the other side. And we get to the island. Right. So once across the causeway, the party see the silhouette of the largely subterranean temple, which forms part of a low hill which rises before them. What remains above ground is a blackened ruin, broken and dilapidated. The remainder of the island is covered with short, stunted trees, which have dark leaves and barbed branches. The place radiates an evil aura, which grows in intensity like a distracting humming as the characters carefully approach the ruin. It's not looking too good. The remains of a paved road heads in the direction of the temple, with occasional flights of steps to accommodate the climb upwards to the summit. At certain points, the characters pass a grotesque statue or symbolic representation of evil. Ooh, pretty grim. Perform a random monster check when they move within 30 yards of the entrance. So we are approaching the entrance. And do I have my little entrance sheet? I will find it, I'm sure. We have a 1 in 10 chance of an encounter. So, and what I've done is I've got a special encounter table that I have devised. So it's a 1 in 10 chance as we approach the entrance. No, we do not. So we are approaching the entrance of this temple. Right, I found my entrance section, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to describe the entrance, and then I think we're going to just leave it there. We've been going for quite some time, and at the start of the next episode, what I can do is I can introduce all my modifications that I made to the Appendix A, specifically to bring out the thematic side and the atmospheric and all the sensory things, and then we're going to inject into this and use it as a bit of a trial run to see how that goes. But basically, the crumbling grand entrance. The steps end at a massive arching gateway, now heavily cracked and overgrown with dark foliage. Gargoyle-like figures, their faces eroded by time, leer down from crumbling pedestals. The heavy, iron-bound doors are buckled and splintered, one lying half off its hinges, creating a narrow, debris-choked passage into the darkness beyond. The air here has a faint, metallic smell, mixed with the scent of damp earth. So, beyond the doors, there a corridor heads downwards on low stairs, gently heading away into the darkness. And on that note, I'm going to leave it for this episode. I hope you had quite good fun with that episode. It was quite entertaining trying to get across that causeway. A few mistakes from me. I do apologise for that, but I think it was just the heat of the moment. I think maybe I was seeing some things in the water too that kind of distracted me. We've got to get back over that causeway when we come back. So I'm probably going to do a kind of more of a shortcut mechanic. Now that we kind of know our way, we will have the benefit of hindsight when we get back across it. But at least we've managed to get across. We've got onto the island. We've approached the temple. We're just about to go down and start to explore our first thematic and atmospheric dungeon. It's going to be a bit beyond what we did on Dormona. It's not going to be quite as random. It's going to have a bit more of my input on it, and it's going to have a bit of a temple, a ruined evil temple orientation as well. Okay, well, it just leaves me to say thank you very much for joining me, and I hope to see you next time.